Well, I was walking on the beach one morning, right after the New Year. I think this was in '68, and I was asking myself, why do movies for television have to be 2 hours long? Why can't they be 90 minutes? I mean, there are all kinds of advantages if they're 90 minutes, and many movies are only that long. I mean, a 90-minute movie on television would be about 84 minutes, and there are plenty of movies that are only, somewhere between 80 and 85 minutes. So I thought, and that's all I had to think of. And the title came next, call it Movie of the Week, and do it as a movie. In other words, don't treat it as an anthology show. Don't do anything that makes it sound like an anthology show. This is Movie of the Week. And I told it to NBC. And they, I've forgotten his name, man in charge of programming, they were doing the 2-hour movies. Mm-hmm. So naturally, in fact, I told it to him out of courtesy, but actually bringing it to NBC was like someone trying to sell a chicken farmer a fox. And so then after having done that courtesy thing, now I got serious, and I met with CBS. And when I finished, a great group of people standing in the background was Fred Silverman. I didn't know who he was, but he wasn't sitting at the table with these guys. He was standing back there, listening intently. And I asked later, who was that man standing back there? Who was that masked man? Turned out to be Fred Silverman. But anyway, when I finished telling them the concept of Movie of the Week and why I thought it was bound to work, the man running programming for CBS at that time, whose name I have forgotten, said, "Roy, that is a terrible idea." Or words to that effect. It was kind of the opposite of what Leonard Goldenson had said. And that was it. That was the end of the meeting. They just weren't interested. But Dave Kaufman of Variety had somehow or other heard about it. I mean, I'd had 2 meetings, top-level meetings, and he called me and said, what is this about? And I told him the whole story. I said, well, and I gave it to him completely. And it was printed the next day. Roy Huggins has come up with a new series called Movie of the Week. The cost per episode would be, I forget the amount, but a lot. I mean, an unheard of amount. And all the things that I had said, why it would be a success, and the things you had to avoid, and all the rest of it. It was a long article. Someone from ABC called Grant Tinker and said, why didn't Roy Huggins bring it to us? And Grant said, well, I don't know, call and ask him. So someone called and said they wanted to hear this idea. I met with ABC at a hotel. Barry Diller was present at that one, but was not the top man then. Top man is, again, a man who's still around. I've forgotten his name. And I told him the whole idea. And they asked all kinds of questions, especially Barry Diller. Barry asked very pointed questions that were, really intelligent. And the meeting was over, and I went away. Oh, they asked me, can you produce this show? And I said, if you do it at Universal, I can produce it. If I have to sell it to you, I can't produce it because I'm under contract to Universal. I have the right to sell it to you, but I don't want to sell it to you. I want to produce it. They met with Universal and couldn't get together on how much Universal would get paid. And Wasserman never called me into any of those meetings. He just took the meetings and said, this is what we want without consulting me, which I think was not really in keeping with our business arrangement. Some more time passed, and an article appeared in Variety, which was a duplicate of the article that had appeared about me about 2 or 3 weeks ago. Only now it was saying ABC to make Movie of the Week. And without any mention that although
David Kaufman?
Dave Kaufman called him and said, well, I see you're producing Roy Huggins' idea. And what's his name, the head of programming, said, it's not Roy Huggins' idea. It's an idea we've had for a long time here. And at least that's what Dave told me they said. I went to a lawyer. Well, actually, Grant Tinker came down to see me. And I said, Grant, I've decided to sue. And he says, us? Because he was working for Universal. And I said, well, probably I should sue you, but the real target is ABC because they're the ones who stole it. You merely misrepresented me. Which I wrote something about this and left that out because I didn't want to get into a battle with Wasserman, but that is what I said.
So did you sue ABC?
Yeah, I sued ABC. Or let me put it this way, I went to a lawyer and said, I want to sue ABC. He studied the thing for a long time and said, Roy, when you told Dave Kaufman what that was about, so you told him the whole series, you put it in the public domain. Now he says, I think you still might win, but they will have a very strong argument that they should be allowed to do what anyone could do because you had put it in the public domain. I gave that a lot of thought. I would have had to put up $250,000 to really sue them effectively because I would have had to have a restraining order on their showing the series. And I talked some more to my attorney and decided that he was probably right. He says, Roy, I think it'll cost you a fortune, and there's a good chance you'll lose. He says, I don't like to go into suits of that kind. I only like to go into suits that I think I'm going to win. So I dropped it. And later on, in his autobiography, Leonard Goldenson admitted that it was my idea. He said it, obviously. All you have to do is read the trades and you see that Roy Huggins came up with that idea.